Hello.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, John. I can't see
Oh, here I am,
you.
out of the nowhere.
Yeah, not too exciting, but I did get a couple of answers. The first one is just um, like kind of dark black hole energy moving up from my pelvis. Yeah, bottom of the pelvis up and just kind of streaming upward. Um, and then after that was aliveness. And then after that was just like it was like that in which and upon which all things can come completely to rest.
Hmm.
Yeah,
What do you sense as you say that?
like a stillness
Mhm,
and a relief.
mhm. Absolutely. This is subtle but important, you know, what you're touching. It's not of the mind. It's from the depths. And the first movement is also significant because there's something here, something that's wanting attention from that sort of black hole from which arose some sensation.
Mhm.
Do you have a sense of that also?
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So take a minute, if you don't mind.
Hmm.
Eyes closed is fine. And just feel and sense into that apparent black hole. Just a willingness to completely explore it.
Yeah, there it is. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, it seems very benign, but it also seems like when it comes, like what I think of as me or individual kind of gets blotted out a little bit, or like just, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Mhm. Like
So,
it gets erased, but it's like there's not any distress around it.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So in a way, the separate self dissolves here.
Hmm. But it's like totally okay with
It's
that.
okay. Yeah. There's no distress.
Mhm.
Just hang out there a little more on the event horizon.
Yeah, my legs are shaking a little. Just a
Mm-hmm.
bit of trembling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a trembling, isn't there?
Hmm.
This is important not to skip through too fast,
Hmm.
right? But actually to stay right here. Stay with the trembling. Let the trembling happen, the shakiness. You're doing beautifully. Breathe. Whatever wants to tremble or shake, just letting it. Nothing to control. Good.
It
Mm-hmm.
feels kind of like as each part trembles a little bit afterwards, it gets filled more with it.
Mm-hmm. Did you say it gets filled more with it?
Yeah. filled
Mm-hmm.
more. Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Like they're being infused with it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Consciously participating
Mhm.
in this, knowing.
Yeah. It
This
feels
is,
my legs are filled with it, and it's kind of
yep,
spreading upward from the pelvis now. Yeah.
that's right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now?
Kind of up in the solar plexus.
Mm-hmm. So it's moving up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So beautiful. There's a very dynamic unfolding here, almost a kind of meeting of the conditioned and the unconditioned,
Mm-hmm.
important acclimation, suffusion process. So stay with it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. So Tracy will stay with her experience, and Phil, we can move on.
Next person is Kristen. Kristen, I'll go ahead and unmute you.
Thank you.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, John. Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
I feel like I have met you before, so it's
Well,
very.
maybe we have.
I know. I don't exactly know where, but so I wanted to share my experience, but I also thought I'd just mention that my heart's desire, and maybe put it in a context or something,
Sure.
if that's okay.
Sure.
So just that with this coronavirus, I've been very much in retreat. I had been traveling, and when I came back, began, I got sick, and so I was I was quarantined, and then before anyone else, and then when I'm ready to come out into the world, the whole world's going into quarantine. So I've been in for some time, and I feel like there's a lot bubbling to into a new world, and a lot of kind of a inquiry about my own work. I'm also a depth psychotherapist, and so I'm thinking and I won't tell you more, but I'm thinking to extend that out more so in new ways. And so this is very powerful today, and I want to thank you because you're like a model for it, and then also everyone who's here, the beauty of this heart sharing. So thank you for all that. So when I had this experience, the first round was a luminous light, and it was like a descent, but I didn't feel much ground. I just felt like waves of light. And then the second was almost a circular holding, like a circle of love surrounding me. But I did notice, and it was a gentleman that shared, I felt like, oh, there's fear connected to this kind of like the circle of contact. I wanted to make points of reference with it so that I know who that is, and then make sure they stay, and or kind of like that,
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed that, and then the third was the deepest. It was this really deep fountain of love in my heart, and I couldn't stop weeping, and then it was really, really powerful. And I'm not sure if you said to let it in at that point, but it was really, I think I have something to learn about receiving love, because it is my experience that love is easy, but receiving love is not easy so much, So I think there's a question in there or something. And then the fourth, it was awareness that came to hold all of it, and in that there was a real visceral sense of the holding of everything. And I noticed my brain just started to get really calm, and some kind of brain balancing happened, and I became calm. And so it was a ride.
Mm.
I just, the whole of it was kind of a ride. So out of that calm, I forgot to mention that the awareness felt, I think it was then that you said to receive or let it in.
Mhm.
And I felt it at a cellular level, like almost like instead of the streaming, it was entering cellularly, and then that's what balanced my brain somehow.
Mm.
So yeah, there was potency in all that, and I feel like
Mhm.
there's a message or something for me, but I don't want to go to my mind about it.
Mm.
Yeah, so wanted to share. And
Beautiful. Very deep, very profound unfolding.
yes,
This
and
sense of, this which holds everything. And there's a profound, when we are able to sense that and relax into that, it's like there's a profound sense of relief. And the mind actually realizes, oh, there's something greater here,
mhm.
that's directing the show.
Yeah.
And there's a profound kind of rewiring that happens in the nervous system
Mhm,
and all the systems. Actually, you were speaking on a cellular level.
mhm,
So I think the whole body mind on all sorts of gross and subtle levels, when it taps into this and relaxes into it, begins to harmonize and transform in the way that you were experiencing. And then coming back to the third round where you said you felt like there was a question or there's something about receiving love,
yeah,
much easier to give than to receive,
mhm.
which is actually a fairly common experience for people.
And when you say that, I can feel that same place.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So is there a belief that goes with that place?
Um, I think it feels safer to love. Like love is so reliable. When I turn to love, that feels safe, and I feel at home. But when it comes to receiving, it's not gone so well necessarily. So I think that I have maybe wounding or
Yes. Yeah. It's safer to give than to receive.
yeah.
Mm.
Is that true? Feels true.
Well, let's ask again in this moment, not to your mind though. Like let your attention fall into the heart, very innocent, as if you're asking for the very first time. What is my deepest knowing about this belief that it's unsafe to be loved now? What is my deepest knowing? Just be quiet.
I think it's safe to receive my own love.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I think that's kind of maybe where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and maybe that's the next step.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does that feel right as you say it?
Yes, but it also is that it's a question of then how do I work with the belief that the outer,
Mm-hmm.
how
Mm-hmm.
would I work with
Okay.
that?
Well,
And then
let's question, is it unsafe to be loved by another now? What's now?
oh, what a lovely question. Oh,
Let's let's
okay.
let's sit with it for a minute.
Okay.
Is it unsafe to be loved by another now?
The freshness of it, I think, right? Instead of taking anything back, it's just moving forward, and I don't think it is unsafe now. Yeah, that's so beautiful. It is not unsafe now.
Let it in. Okay. Just take a minute. Let it in.
Oh, it's very calming, actually.
Indeed.
It's like a relief and a calm and also sweetness and
Absolutely. You've let yourself into the truth of what's true now.
of what's true now.
Maybe it wasn't true before,
No.
but now it is. Okay. Beautiful, Kristen.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Georgina, do you want to come on? I'll go ahead and unmute you.
And then I'll say, while Georgina's coming on, there's just one little addendum, which is in the inquiry, just adding that little word now was very important, wasn't it? Like, is it what's true now? What is my deepest knowing now? Right? Is this really, because, you know, we have these defenses for a reason. They are adaptations, way to protect what feels most precious, often when we're very little, you know, and our hearts get broken and we learn to protect that. And that probably was the wisest thing to do. And the question is, what's true now? What's true now?